Go7. Go7, king of the game. I believe in you, that's what he'll say. Nice and kind, leading cobalt ice. He's a blue, cute, and deadly little guy. Seeing through the fog, old gods he's slayed. Go7, 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 Go7. Go7, 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 Go7. Go7, king of the game. I believe in you, that's what he'll say. Nice and kind, leading cobalt ice. He's a blue, cute, and deadly little guy. Seeing through the fog, old gods he's slayed. Go7, 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 Go7. Go7, 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 Go7. Go7, king of the game. I believe in you, that's what he'll say. Nice and kind, leading cobalt ice. He's a blue, cute, and deadly little guy. Seeing through the fog, old gods he's slayed. Go7, 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 Go7. Go7, 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 Go7. Go7, king of the game. I believe in you, that's what he'll say. Nice and kind, leading cobalt ice. He's a blue, cute, and deadly little guy. Seeing through the fog, old gods he's slayed. Go7, 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 Go7. Go7, 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 Go7.
Hello, hello. When's Humeda's tournament? Well, I thought the signups were starting in 2 weeks, and then I was apparently misinformed and told the tournament's starting tomorrow, so I have no idea. Hello. I mean, it's starting tomorrow is rough when the signups haven't even come online yet. Good afternoon, Tom. We do actually have the rare and wonderful Go7 game this time. I just finished yesterday. I guess that's fine. Seven, never heard of him. You're here. I'm the king of the penguins. I'm not that good. This is a tournament game. Did I double paste to the video description? Let me check. Definitely did. I don't know how that happened. No, I didn't. I just didn't delete. I didn't delete the previous one. Okay. That looks like it's all fixed up. I know, a Go7 submitted game. Is... No, the next one I believe is Neverlocke. What happened was the previous queue from the last video was still in there. We're all good now. I ate an apple this morning. Yeah, well, I have to have this. I can't really have the stream time earlier than 5 p.m. because that's about when I get home. Work. When there's not a strike yet. So I can't really change it to give you guys more time. Can't believe this Go7 guy gets priority. Look, people ask for the Go7 games. A Go7 game? A noob game, yeah. Oh, you guys will see some noob plays. Yeah, this is a round 1 of the Smacky Cup 2. So it's a tournament game. You can pick Jake on your match for this. I think Jake would be fine. My opponent picked Jess, Broomstick Boy, who apparently has had some. You can read the comments. We had some messages in the game on the website, but Broomstick Boy has apparently had some very unlucky matchups for round 1s of tournament. Was lamenting that this was another one. You know, someone's gotta fight the top rated players. It's just how it goes. And they picked Jess, which apparently is a popular pick. I'm not quite sure why Jess would be a popular pick. She's definitely stronger in Fog than she is in Standard, but she's worse when it's a 2 tower or a quad tower map, so both players can in theory get 2 towers. And she also is worse when you've got faster infantry deployments over here. She's going to have stronger vehicles, and the strong vehicle area is going to be in the center because it's nice and open without not so many like choke points and the like, so your vehicles will get to run amok. But it's not a huge deal if you win the center because there's only 4 properties. She doesn't like fighting up here because you can see the route you have to take, and then you're kind of locked into this space that's got very narrow areas. So it's gonna be really beneficial for like copters and infantry walking across rivers and stuff. Not so much for tanks. Down here on the defense, it's pretty good because you just like build vehicles and they go straight into this choke point. I mean, they still run into a choke point. That's not great. So Jess has a nice advantage in the center here, but winning the center isn't that big of a deal in comparison to the sides where the comm towers are. Jess recons are strong, but okay, so the reason why Jess isn't as good when you have 4 comm towers is because there's a 20% damage bonus threshold you really want to reach to get guaranteed 2-hit KOs on same type units on cities. So for Jess, because she has plus 10% firepower with her vehicles, she only needs 1 comm tower, and then her tanks are already able to guarantee 2-hit KO enemy tanks on cities, and that's really, really good. But since there's 2 comm towers per player, she kind of loses that advantage. She does get to 30% firepower, which is, I mean, it's not bad, but it's not as impactful as going from 10 to 20 or going from 30 to 40. The 30 from 40, because if you're at 40%, you can now 2-hit KO if they have a 10% power bonus for their defense on cities. So even if their power's up, you can still get the 2-hit KO at 40%. But she misses out on that without having her own power active. With just 2 comm towers, she reaches 30%, which isn't so great. So her advantage in that aspect is you know, it's not as egregious towards other COs like Adder, who would normally be stuck at 10% unless he's got his power active. If there's 2 comm towers, then suddenly Adder is basically Jess in the vehicle department. Yeah, if you get 3 comm towers, and that's a nice thing for Jess. If she loses one of the comm towers, she'll still be able to get those 2 at KOs, which is really good. But even the other thing is her infantry and her copters. I mean, it's not that big of a deal for the copters, but her infantry have minus 10% attack. So even when you get 2 comm towers, she still doesn't get that 2-hit KO on opposing infantry. So she really doesn't benefit that much in comparison to like Adder from the double comm tower situation. So that's why I didn't go with Jess. If there was only 1 comm tower per player, I probably would have gone with a Jess pick. Just because then you do have that nice unlock at the power threshold. But in this case, I can just go Adder, and I get the 2 towers, and then my infantry can get the 2 KOs, and my vehicles can get the 2 KOs. It's all really nice. I also don't have to worry about having weaker copters, and due to these comm towers on the top and bottom being in this really choky environment with water and rivers, having the stronger infantry and having the stronger copters seems like a really big deal, especially because if, as Adder, I'm able to leverage that kind of composition advantage to get 3 comm towers, then I'm at 30%. And there's one thing Adder loves to do, and that's spam powers. And when you spam your power, you go up to 40% because everyone gets plus 10 attack, plus 10% defense when they activate a power. And that means, as Adder, I'm reaching that 40% threshold, so I'm able to break the opponent's units even if they have their power active on these cities. So that's why I went with Adder rather than Jess. All of my units will be able to get the 2-hit KOs. And the parts of the map that I'm seeing as really important is this top and this bottom. This comm tower is really hard to take away from your opponent because it's in between all of the bases in the airport. But these ones look very flippable. And it also looks like a place that Jess really doesn't want to have to fight. Because if she sends stuff up there, it's kind of trapped. Once you get up to this point, if you want to leave, you either have to go through your opponent's kind of zone of control, or you have to go back through a forest and around these. There's a windy route, like 3 turns, to get back to the front lines, and that's really nasty. So anytime Jess has to commit something up this way, her units are kind of stranded there. And then down here, there's all the choke points. So it looked very doable to take the comm towers away from Jess. And that's going to be my plan going in. I am fully expecting to to lose in the center here. Well, not lose, but to not get my cities, because this is where Jess is going to be strongest in this nice open area. Her vehicles can just kind of move around and beat me up in the early game. So I'm expecting to probably go down in cities over here. I don't really care. I'm going to get this one because it's so close to my base, and I'll probably not get one of these. And in exchange, I'm going to get more control in this area. So I'll be down like a tiny bit in the center, but make up for it in the parts of the map that I feel like matter. And at the same time, I can leverage, I can pressure this area very nicely, because this is as we enter into the mid and late game, because this base is so close to them for mech production, you can just keep spamming mechs. And Jess doesn't have a very affordable way to deal with all those mechs that are going to be going towards these cities that she was denying. Other than she can make like infantry walls and artillery to cost effectively take them out. But her cheapest direct way of doing it would be with the recon. The recon costs 4k and a mech costs 3k. And while a recon can one-shot a mech will be able to one-shot the recon also. So unless every single mech gets wiped out, it's pretty much always going to be a cost-effective engagement for the mech swarm that can build up for the mid and late game. The landers can't be viable. That's true. There is a harbor here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah. No, there's nothing. I guess you could lander from here to here. That'd be a very expensive commitment. Do I have any tips for a map called Black Hole Blazing Sun? I haven't looked at that map unless I don't recognize the name. Considered a B-boat? I would probably go with a transport copter over a black. But yeah, so the plan... Okay, so I didn't go with Jess because of the double comm tower situation, and I felt like this is the areas I want to be fighting over, so I went with Adder. And my game plan is to win the sides and kind of just accept that the middle is going to be lost in the early game with building up a mech presence in order to then pressure it cost effectively in the mid to late game. Yeah, that was the plan. And I'll go more into my shenanigans as the game continues. I fully expect Broomstick Boy to kind of kick my butt in the center, but I'm going to have some plays to guarantee, what would you call it? Verify that is indeed going to happen. Oh, I'm fighting Swagmaster there? Oh, okay. So here we go. Well, we have Broomstick Boy going with a very early recon, which is definitely to be expected. I want to go for a fairly... I'm going to do for a little city skip here. The idea being that this guy can go for the city, and then this one, well, this guy goes for this guy, over the city, and then over to here, and this guy goes here, and this guy goes over here, and then I've got... once the guy goes here, he can go here, and then this guy can try and go for the city. So basically, I've built all the infantry I need on this front. Might have gone through that too fast. So, let's actually go back to the turn. So it's a city skip. So normally when you're going for captures, you're just going to capture inside out. So the closest cities to the base, and then go outward from there with your captures. That's just going to give you as much money as soon as possible. But here I'm going to go for what we call a city skip, where instead of going for this next closest city, I'm going to step past it to let the next coming infantry go for the capture, and instead accelerate a further capture. And this will cost me a tiny bit of money right now, but will give me faster map control, map development as I go for this further capture earlier than I could. And this is going to work out nicely in this case, just because it also is going to assign each of these little infantry their own job as to what they're going to do with the capture phase here. So this guy wants to go here and then here. This is a capture chain. These two cities are within one infantry movement of each other. And this guy's going to go here, capture, and then step into this forest, and then go for this city. This guy's going to go here, and then go for this city. This guy's going to go down here, step across the mountain, capture this, and then go for this city. So all of the cities that I'm going to capture from this base have already been assigned to these infantry. So at this point, I can afford to build a vehicle next turn without costing me any economy in this base in particular. Down here is not the case. As you can see, there's still tons of cities that do not have infantry necessarily assigned to them. This one's probably going here. This guy's probably going to try and take this one. This guy can either go here or down here. This guy's going to go over here. This guy's going to go here, and it's like, well, who's going to capture this harbor or this airport? This guy's got a choice, so probably need another infantry to go for one of those. And then it's going to depend on, do I want to assign another one to kind of go across this river, or have more going down this way because there's going to be some opposition, that kind of thing. So at this stage, it's kind of looking at like my next turn, the one base is actually going to be building a vehicle first rather than the double base, just because of how the capture phase is working out. So this does also mean that because my opponent went for this early recon, this did actually cost Broomstick Boy some economy. Because now there isn't, if this wasn't infantry, it could be going for this capture, for instance. And Broomstick Boy is also going to go for city skip development. So, very good. Do-do. Okay. Ooh, okay, so I went onto this mountain. So it looks like I'm going for another city skip. So instead of going for this city, I want to go for the airport first and then send this guy over to this city. Which means that this guy's going to go for this city and then down to the harbor. And what this does is it frees up this infantry. So instead of this infantry going for this city and then going for this city, you can now go for this city and then for this comm tower. And that's all because I want to have a specific timing of getting this comm tower captured when this recon is waiting on this city in the corner, because I want to catch this infantry walking. It finishes the capture here, it's going to start capturing here, it's going to walk here, and then I want to have my recon waiting right here so that when he tries to capture the city, it'll get trapped on me, standing on the shoals while I'm standing on the city. And if I have my comm towers captured at that point, I do believe there's a chance the recon can just get a one shot. Or at least get a lot of damage done. Yeah. So I'm anticipating that Broomstick Boy is going to have a recon in the center, because your Broomstick Boy's Jess doesn't really want to fight me infantry in the center. And they're going to be strong recon. So I'm going to try and get the recon to reveal itself, which will give me a lot of... It's going to cost me infantry health, but I don't expect to hold these cities anyway. And I would really like to know where Broomstick Boy's early investments have been. So if I can see a recon already fighting in the center, I know that's been the first vehicle buy, and that means I don't have to worry about other things in other places. And you can see I'm going to start producing the mechs at this point. That's because the capture phase for me is essentially over for this city. I've got an infantry already planned for all of the captures. So now it's going to be just building up all of those mechs. Not really to do anything in the early game. The real play is like a few mechs are okay, but if you want to use mechs effectively, especially against someone like Jess with really strong vehicles, you need to have a lot of mechs, so that if they ever come in and just one-shot mechs with vehicles, you have other mechs that can come with the counterattacks. There we go. So this infantry is going to get trapped. I didn't have to do this. This is probably a little bit more than needed, but what I wanted to do is I'm expecting this infantry to get kind of annihilated. So I was debating if I should go here and just check to see if there's anything on the city, but I wasn't sure if the recon would actually be there or not. And if it's not there, it might not expose itself if I'm like just a little too dainty with this infantry. So instead I was like, okay, so if the recon's here, I'll get to find out about it, and then my infantry dies. That is what it is. But if it's not here, then me going onto the city will kind of force the recon to act, and that will reveal it that way. And once I know the recon's here, I'll know what the early game buys were for Broomstick Boy and where they are. I want to get this artillery. I got this artillery early because I want to lock down these cities from the forest. I don't have any... Again, I'm not expecting to win the middle, so I'm going to try and also slow down the progress. Okay. Got a tank to back up the artillery, and you can see all the mechs coming out. But there should be an infantry on the city since you have one on the mirror. That's only going to depend on what Broomstick Boy's capture phase is like, whether or not they rush this or whether or not they build a vehicle. In the early game, like this recon was built instead of an infantry. All that kind of stuff is being delayed. But what you say is true. I could have anticipated there being an infantry here and then going here. Then just confirm there's an infantry, but that won't reveal the recon. I really want to see the recon. Again, I wouldn't... yeah, if you're playing this game, definitely check. Check the city. You don't need to sacrifice your infantry. You're going to see this a lot. Is I'm going to be sacrificing a lot of units for information. And I would not recommend that other people be doing that. Because you're going to want your units. But it's very important to note that I am sacrificing infantry for information after all of the captures I want with them are done. So that I don't hurt my economy. Okay, so I got my information. I definitely could slide it. Well, it's not so much about wanting to be... I don't really want to be less vulnerable. I want it to be as appealing for a recon to hit me as possible. But I could have attacked from here, or moved in from here. It would... I think it probably would have worked out better for me. I think I would have survived, because this infantry wouldn't be able to reach. But that wasn't what I would agree with that play. But that wasn't what was going through my mind when I was making the move. So I agree that that would be a much better approach. All right. This is called... Got a little mech chain. I'm slightly short on cash, so I can't get another mech. But Broomstick Boy doesn't. Okay, so my recon checking to see the progress of the recapturing here. It sees it here, so it's going to be able to time itself very nicely. The city. Howdy, howdy. So I go for a fast copter buy here. That's going to slightly make up for the fact that I'm not having a continuous chain of mechs here, because now this guy's also covering this mech. And this copter's got a choice. I'm either going to send it up here or I'm going to send it down here. And I think I'm going to prioritize sending it down here because it looks like I'm going to be able to capture this comm tower completely unopposed. Due to what my recon's telling me. So I'm going to send the copter down here to try and deny this comm tower. Broomstick Boy bringing a tank down here right away. Already has an anti-air getting out into the center. I think this recon could have interrupted this capture, but playing a little bit safe, which is understandable. The only things that Broomstick Boy has seen me spend money on so far is this mech and that infantry. No APCs with the mechs? Yeah, so usually you're doing APCs with mechs because the bases are really far away from the fronts. But in this case, your mech just steps across the river and it's already in the on the front line. So I don't need any transports. There, the recon's waiting. You can see if I wanted to, I could have... Oh no, I can't. Never mind. For some reason, I thought my recon could have attacked here, but I'm not going to. I'm going to wait here for infantry to get trapped on me. And this does like 3 things that I like. Broomstick Boy is being really smart and actually sending another infantry up this way, but it delays 2 things. It delays this corner city getting captured, which of course hurts the economy a tiny bit. But more importantly, it delays any infantry presence that could try and go for this comm tower, which is what my precious comm tower. So I'm going to be delaying that by hurting the infantry. And it forces Broomstick Boy to bring up vehicles to deal with this recon. And as I was saying at the opening, it's not great for Jess to have vehicles go committed up this way because there's no easy way of bringing them to another front. So if I can get Broomstick Boy to commit vehicles up here to get rid of my recon, then all the other sections of the map get weaker. Just because they don't have that investment of that vehicle there. Potentially. There's also the possibility, not very likely, that Broomstick Boy is going to move this tank before moving the infantry, in which case there'll be even a further delay to vehicles going to deal with the recon. So I'm going to make a little mistake here. I do have... the mistake is that I don't have anything in range to actually interrupt this capture, so the artillery shows up, and if I could delay this for one turn, then I would be able to kind of lock it forever with the artillery. But sadly, I did not put anything in position that could actually interrupt here. So Broomstick Boy is going to have that center capture, which I was kind of expecting. Broomstick Boy to have. And down here, we're going to see I sent a tank forward and attacked an infantry on the city. Again, I wouldn't necessarily recommend other players doing this because it's very risky. But there's a few reasons I'm doing this. I do kind of anticipate a tank hitting this tank from the city, and it's going to be painful, but I can just kind of run back and be protected and heal up on the city. It will delay a decent amount of economy, so it's not that bad. It's got a 3-turn delay, most likely, because the infantry is going to have to step off of the city, and then the tank strikes. They can't capture the city while the tank's on it. And I go back and heal, so I don't go that negative in value. But what I really want to do is I want to win the triple comm tower, and in order to win the triple comm tower, I need Jess to have less healthy infantry trying to go for this comm tower. So I'm going to start picking on them right now. So that in like 4 or 5 turns, there might be like 1 or 2 infantry only that can actually try and go for captures over here. But this will result in this tank first strike, a 9-4 exchange. So nice for Jess, as is the Jess firepower boost. And this is something also that you would only do in Fog. You would probably never do this. I won't say never. You would most likely not do this in Standard, because in Standard, your opponent knows where all your units are, so a lot of your map control just comes from having healthy units in those areas. But in Fog of War, you can kind of just run away and have the fog be defensive pressure for you, and you won't lose control of the area necessarily, just because they have a strong tank and you have a weak tank, because they can't actually hit you. Right? If my tank just runs away, this tank cannot hit me because there's no way of seeing me. Where in Standard, if I try and run away, the tank just chases me down and wipes me out, and then suddenly I'm just down a unit, and then I seriously have no pressure in the area. But in Fog of War, you can just kind of run away and stand on the city and heal up. Okay. So Broomstick Boy coming in here and going for an attack of their own. And there we go. The recon smacks the infantry. I don't get the kill. Actually, I don't think 20% is enough to get the kill. It might take 30%. I don't have this one yet. But still, knocking down the one's pretty good. Pop, pop. The attack. I'm covered by an artillery. I got the mechs. It's a really annoying force to attack into. So yeah, here the tank is just going to run away. Exchange isn't so bad. It's what, 3,000 in income that's delayed, and I take 5 more tank health, which is 3,500. So I'm down about 500 value. Oh no, I did 5 damage to an infantry, so I guess it's kind of even. Smacky. Here we go. It's infantry on the mountain. You can see the comm tower. Copter now in range to interrupt the comm tower. We're bringing a tank over here because this recon's starting to be very annoying. I'm just going to take a defensive position for these infantry. If if Broomstick Boy wants to, can stick around and try and fight me on the mountains and stuff, I'll be able to trade out infantry pretty nicely, because one recon won't be able to kill anyone or any of these infantry on these defensive terrains. But if you go like infantry plus recon plus infantry attacks, then this infantry gets exposed to be attacked by the other infantry. So instead of like going negative from being harassed, I'm just going even as I'm trading infantry off. It's not necessarily ideal because I don't have the city yet, which I would like, but neither does Broomstick Boy, so it's kind of okay. Okay. We have the recon moving out over here. Tank heals up here. This infantry's healing up way back here, which I agree with. Definitely want to heal up these injured infantry for Broomstick Boy so that, you know, my plan of delaying all the captures isn't too strong. And it really doesn't cost that much to heal up infantry. So definitely worth doing so. Okay, in comes the copter attack, and I'm definitely going to interrupt this capture. And again, we're going to just trade out infantry. So in this case, I didn't even lose this infantry, and it's going to go back and heal for quite a long time, but it's dirt cheap to repair them. Okay, I'm going to step off of the mountain here, because if I want to, next turn I could use a power and have the infantry help interrupt. There's a follow-up capture. And also, we saw that Broomstick Boy actually built the anti-air last turn, and that was before my copter was revealed. So this is a very nice prophylactic anti-air. And you'll notice that I have not built a single anti-air, and that's because I've got much stronger copters than Jess does, so I can just try to rely on my copters to fight the copters. And here, I'm going to go for this little slightly sneaky route. I prefer to have a more direct approach, but of course this recon is actually spotting me. So I need to go around the recon's vision. And this is all because I'm anticipating Broomstick Boy to be bringing in tanks to deal with the really annoying recon. So I want to have some copters attack it. And I probably should have done this earlier. My recon does run away, does reveal the tank. But because I have my infantry standing next to this forest, Broomstick Boy can't start the capture and then have like a block here. I can clear the block and then have the recon harass it. Just copters are weaker. Jess has weaker copters and infantry. So Broomstick Boy actually has a transport copter, which is pretty fancy. Could use it to kind of land on this comm tower, which is probably the idea. We have a copter built by Broomstick Boy. This infantry gets spotted. And this is definitely not suspicious location. And so, as and kind of anticipated, Jess has a stronger center presence. In the early game, and manages to get one of the cities, and this one stays neutral. So that was the Jess victory there. We have a medium tank bot. Now the medium tank is probably in a reaction to how many mechs I'm going to start having walking out, because mechs have a hard time dealing with medium tanks. Broomstick Boy said that they were like, I really shouldn't just walk onto that city. I should like try and scout it first, because there might be something there, but then they ended up doing it anyway. Okay, so this is a decision that took me a little while. So this is another thing that I would say do not do at home. For me, I'm viewing it as a win-win situation. So this, actually, let's go back though. So this is set up to be perfectly within reach of an anti-air from the base if it was built a turn before my copter was revealed. So I'm like, this could be this could be a bluff. And if it is a bluff that it's covered by an anti-air, then I just get the free infantry, which is fine. If it's not a bluff, then that's going to tell me a few things. One, Broomstick Boy is being really good with the prophylactic anti-airs. There's probably more anti-airs around the map. Two, Broomstick Boy probably doesn't bluff. And, you know, those are the two main things. And the third thing it gives me is it's going to give me a charge advantage. Because what I want to do as adder is I want to make it to this to the full bar charge, or the normal and the supercharged fully, so I can get 3 normal powers in a row. So the full charge will give me 2 guaranteed, but I can get some attacks in before using the power in between in order to generate enough charge for a 3rd turn. And in order to do that before Jess can kind of smack me around, is I'm going to need to get a charge advantage by having some net losses. This is something I've done quite a few times, especially against our good friend Compi. So that's what this is all about. I'm thinking it's kind of a win-win. I'm going to find out if Broomstick Boy bluffs or not. If Broomstick Boy was bluffing, I just get a free infantry, which is nice. It's not that great, but it's nice. And if not, then I'm going to lose a copter and I get my advantages for the mid and late game plays. It's true. Unless he's bluffing, then he never bluffs. That's the pro move. So yeah, but yeah, I would not recommend doing this unless you have a reason. Because otherwise, I mean, you don't go negative in unit count, I guess, because you lose a copter, they lose an infantry. But value-wise, you go pretty negative. Okay. Yeah. The classic 9000G for 400G in damage trade, advantageous. Exactly. And to follow this up, I'm going to build a rocket. Now, classically, I never built rockets in Fog, but this looks like the perfect map to build a rocket on, because if I move my rocket in just 2 turns, well, in 1 turn, it moves into this forest, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it actually covers the capture of the city. That's pretty nice. I mean, that's some pretty good rocket value. And then immediately the turn after, it can move over here, which is on shoals, which is pretty weak, but it has a, very fortunately, it actually has a mountain right here, stopping Jess land vehicles from coming in and smacking it. And tanks that you build, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, can stand here. So you can have a tank built, a mountain here, the rocket here, and that lets it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, actually cover the captures of this comm tower. So that's the plan with this rocket, is to go here, get the city, move down here, and cover any captures of the comm tower very cost effectively. And I'm not too worried about the Jess copters coming for it, and I can block the Jess land vehicles trying to get it. Now, I do make a little bit of an error here. Oh, okay. I go for another cute play. I want to, again, I want to delay any progress for Jess in getting the city, and therefore trying to get this comm tower. So I'm going to block this tank in. It can almost kill, but can't quite kill this infantry with just 1 comm tower. And I'm going to block the tank off and then start picking on these infantry. But there's a 3rd infantry that Broomstick Boy has sent along, so I'm not completely denying this city. I'm just delaying it a ton, and also kind of pressuring Broomstick Boy to send even more vehicles to deal with my harassments. Okay, so the mistake I see, the Broomstick Boy is going to make a play that seems very obvious, but I somehow missed it. And it's this right here. The Recon just goes and sits on this city. It reveals this infantry, which isn't super great for me, but what's really annoying for me is now the recon actually spots this tile. So if I try and move my rocket into this forest, I will reveal that I built a rocket, and it will lose a lot of effectiveness. So that was very sad. And the recon moved here, even though that's kind of like a pretty obvious move. I'm actually surprised that this tank didn't go and dive in here. I think probably Broomstick Boy thinks I have another tank sitting in these boots, ready to help my inventory out. And then Broomstick Boy sacrifices an infantry in order to get this artillery down here to stop this capture, because I'm putting some pressure in the middle. And you'll note I have very, very little stuff actually committed to these sides at this point, because it's really hard to move units from the sides to other places. So my recon's going to come and get some scouting in. I want to have this tank ready to guard over here. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. If I want to, as you can see, I do have enough charge thanks to my brave copter. I can threaten to hit the tank from the city, and it is seen by this screen. Yeah. So because this recon's here, my rocket can't just go down here, so it's going to go on this really slightly longer route to get into position. We'll bring our tanks over. Now I get to play as if I have more movement than I actually do. I'm not going to use the adder normal power anytime soon, but if pushed, I can. Okay, because of my harassment earlier on in the game, I do know I have quite a few turns before there's another infantry that actually makes it to this comm tower. So this is does help me out quite a bit. And yeah, my recon gets to chill in the forest, and due to Jess being Jess, can't quite kill it. Now, Broomstick Boy goes for some tricky plays here. This copter only moves 2 tiles. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, just out of vision range of any infantry that goes on the mountain. But this does also mean that the normally when you're trying to like calculate the danger range of this airport, you're going to be looking at 12 tiles out, so like 2 turns of movement. But this guy's 2 tiles farther than you would think. So there's actually going to be a little bit of a wonky 3-turn chain moving up here with these copters, which is definitely not something I anticipated. Yeah, there's a little bit of a standoff happening in the center, which is totally fine with me. I'm kind of weaker in the center until I have more mechs. What I would really like, what I'm looking for before I make my plays is 2 things. I want to have pretty much a full bar of charge, and I want to see Broomstick Boy have a significant investment up here, so that again, everywhere else is going to be weak. Okay, so I see where the recon is. I'm like, aha! Now my rocket can come in here, and now I can go for this city. You know, it's not too bad. I also get to start marching out, because now my infantry can go here. It's going to be covered by the rocket, like so, and also by some tanks and a copter. So here, this 1 health infantry is just going to be annoying. There's no infantry over here for Broomstick Boy to use to break this, so a tank would have to hit this guy, and then it would just kind of sit here and be exposed to be smacked around. But this is a choke point, so the Broomstick Boy can do is kind of like stand here and here, and I just have no way of affecting the guy in the forest. And that's why I want to have these copters here, so that if a tank does go here, then I can go like copter smack, use a power, and this infantry can step across this mountain, go here, and that will reveal the thing in the forest. Alright, starting to bring these mechs up to the front lines. I know there's an artillery in these woods, so I'm lining up a mech so that if it gets +1 move, step, 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 smack, assuming I can reveal something in the woods. I do have a kind of a vision problem right now. I don't have anything in the center to see stuff, so I have a recon here and this recon here that are kind of planning to get shifted down. So Broomstick Boy does go for this like double block, but then also I didn't think this guy was in any danger, because as you can see, if the 2-turn move, this copter reach here, so it wouldn't be able to hit this guy, but this guy's just a little bit farther than you would expect, so it does come in and go for a first strike. And then Broomstick Boy just copies the movement. So this isn't so bad for me, because I do have another follow-up copter as well. And Jess does get the 3-8, which is pretty good damage for Jess. And you can see, even though Broomstick Boy does have this capture advantage in the center, I do have more income just because the sides have got more properties. So I'm going to break this. I have the rocket, smack the tank, tank infantry, kill the infantry, get a nice tank attack here. And then you don't have to do this. Arguably I shouldn't, but I'm going to put this copter here because it's impossible for the tank to do 3 damage to it. And then I'm just going to pop this other copter. I'm like, well, it's not that likely that there's a copter chain that's looking like this, but apparently there is. Broomstick Boy does have the the commitment into this 3-turn copter chain. Moving this guy here is like anticipating maybe there's a copter chain, but it's not really doing anything because Broomstick Boy can always just clear them out. So I don't know. Yeah, I'm like, why am I even doing this? I'll just move this guy off. I'm going to start inching forward. Now I have 2 mechs. I can go for the artillery smack. Right now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 mechs in the center. That's looking like a pretty good amount. It takes a lot of vehicles to smack into that and not get outvalued on the counter. In retrospect, Broomstick Boy should have captured tried to eat these two cities. Yeah, that would be something to do for sure. I can understand. I mean, that is kind of scary. Oh, it's not really possible for a Broomstick Boy to do right now because of how much is being invested up into this corner. But if this investment doesn't happen, then you could definitely try and go for these captures. Broomstick Boy would prefer to be fighting in the center, like this area. So this kind of includes this spot there, just because it's better for the land vehicles. But yeah, as you can see, I'm starting to see a really nice investment for Broomstick Boy, and we do have another copter, the same little sneaky play. This one now only gets its 7-4 exchange though, which is much worse. And you can see the difference is I've gone down here, I've got this nice support from across the river, and I've pushed past the this like really annoying choke point that I've got Broomstick Boy stuck in. Broomstick Boy does get this city capture though. So we're now equal in economy currently. And we do have, this is more, these really long walls tends to be more of a standard player thing. Though I have a decent little wall too. The artillery actually stepped out of the wood there. So, okay. So at this point, I'm looking really happy. I know that there's been multiple copters invested up here. I see 3 tanks. So I'm like, okay. Broomstick Boy's gotta have less kind of firepower available on the rest of the map than me. And I've got the full charge. So this is go time. I also have this lined up so that this infantry is 4 away from the capturing this comm tower. So with +1 movement, I can go for this capture. I need to unlock all 3 comm towers versus 1. Although right now I'm at 2 versus 1, which is pretty good. So I don't need to do anything too. I wanted to check to see if I have some good movement opportunities down here, which I do. Like so. Pop, pop. Comes the copter. Tank will finish it off. We get our nice one-shot. That is a roll. It's not a huge roll, but it is a roll. The difference is 1 is made out of mix, yeah. And then I don't have... right here, I'm trying to decide what I want to do with this recon. I can either bring it down here, or I can try and get rid of the vision on this mountain, which would be really nice, so that it's harder for Broomstick Boy to break in. Here I want to kill this copter off. So instead I decide to take out the vision on the mountain. The way I want to do this is like so. I want the full health infantry to be above the mountain, because with my power active and Broomstick Boy with only 1 comm tower, the tank can actually fail to kill me. Which is very cheeky. I don't remember if I put an infantry on this mountain. I definitely should. Although it doesn't super matter. So down here in the center, I'm going to try and just hit as many infantry hits as I can. They're pretty good. Because I kind of expect in the long term to lose these fights just because Jess is Jess. But if Jess doesn't have any infantry around, it doesn't really matter if I lose the fights in the long run. We have our mechs backing us up. We have our artillery. It's standing on the missile platform. I'm kind of anticipating that Broomstick Boy's going to use the artillery plus probably an infantry to kill this and have a tank hit it. But I do have a little bit of backup for the artillery for when they dive in. The attack in the middle is a little bit unnecessary. I'm more willing to do it because for I guess 2 reasons. One is because of how much I've seen invested in this corner. And the second thing is mechs will trade out very cost effectively. And I feel like Broomstick Boy is heavily pressured to stop me from trying to like take this comm tower. So these units, like, they can fight up here, but then I'm not like if these units go up and fight up here, then not only do I get this comm tower, which I think I'm kind of guaranteed to get because there's no way for Broomstick Boy to one-shot this without a medium tank, or a copter follow-up, which I know isn't happening because I haven't even sent up here. But not only will this fall, but then these cities will be the next things to fall. And I get the medium tank because, I mean, there's 3 tanks here. And you might see this little army I have, and it's definitely not strong enough to deal with the 3 tanks and plus any copters that might come up here. Okay. The Broomstick Boy took a decent amount of damage there. Does get the Jess super. Of course, I'm adder, so I use the normal power, and I get to use the normal power again. And I did have full charge, so I'm most likely going to get a third turn of just normal power in the row. So my first strike attack against Jess does like decent damage. I'm anticipating to take a lot in retaliation, just because Jess gets a super. Here, the tank holds its ground, of course. Break this, infantry breaks it, goes through, medium tank reveals that it exists. I think it barely dodged all of my vision. Like, oh no, my tank. Again, this infantry does survive, which would have locked everything out. But there was another copter to come in and break it. And then this guy comes in, takes out this 9 health infantry. I got this infantry. You'll notice I was not expecting to win this fight. And as you can see, there's no juicy targets available for Broomstick Boy. It all left. Notably, this tank left. But I do see that there's an infantry staring at this comm tower, and I really don't want Broomstick Boy to capture this, because then we'll have an equal number of comm towers, and that's not fair. So I do have my artillery here with a plan for it to stand here, and I can then wall for it as it locks down this comm tower. Right. Tank hits into the artillery. Again, attacking into this is really cost effective for me, just because mechs are so much cheaper than most vehicles. And now we have the artillery. And the artillery is pretty good here. It does cover this city. The one thing it doesn't do that the rocket does is cover the comm tower. So this is a good move by Broomstick Boy, making sure to hit this mech, because that's the one that is covering this capture that the anti-air goes to interrupt. Oh, another thing that's really nice about me going for these captures that I did is, although it doesn't super matter in this situation, but it does mean that vehicles are using their turns to hit infantry rather than something more valuable. Although in this attack over here, it's kind of like you either hit infantry or you hit mechs, so it's not that big of a deal. So here the recon comes in, smacks the mech, which is kind of a fine trade for Jess, because recon only costs 1k more than a mech. So if you're looking at it just value-wise, it's like totally fine for Jess. But if you're looking at importance in fog-wise, it's really nasty to lose your recons and then have no vision. So you need to have extra recons for Jess in this kind of situation, which currently there is a backup here. That is going to be something I'm going to be targeting a lot. Yeah, the 7-7 trade. Is especially as the fighting develops in this section of the map, is going to be a lot of fighting over the vision control. Okay, and you can see I have enough charge that I could do a normal power right away, but that's not quite good enough. So I'm going to take this comm tower, of course. I'll take the city. Things are looking good. So I'm going to go for all of the attacks that I can go for that don't matter in terms of extra movement or that extra firepower. This is guaranteed because this tank had the 2 damage retaliation there. And now I've got another bar bout, so I'll pop the power. And I'll do, this is a classic move that I do a lot in Von Bolt mirrors, where a tank comes in and it hits my tank, and then the tank just sacrifices on it, and then another unit comes in and just kills the tank. So even though their tank gets the first strike, it's still a tank for tank trade. It just works out in Von Bolt math, for Von Bolt mirrors, it works out very nicely on roads. And then you can see mech, smack the recon. This turn I do have 3 comm towers, so I'm at plus 40% firepower right now. Smackety. Smack. And yeah, because I'm at plus 40% firepower, that means that even though Jess has plus 10% defense for the power boost for this tank on the city, I can still kill it with guaranteed with copter plus mech, just because I've hit that 40% power threshold. Here comes the medium tank. I don't get the kill here, which is okay. And then I had a choice. I can clear this city with this infantry and then have the mech hit this anti-air, but I was really unimpressed with the damage I dealt. I think I would only do 3 damage and then lose the mech. Like, that's just not great. So instead, I'll just kill off this infantry. Kill off that one. Go for the unit count advantage. And I'll let this anti-air, if it wants to, stick around for a turn. It can step onto this city, take out this mech, and I'll have more options on how to kill it on the next turn. And here you can see me being like, I don't want vision over here, and I don't want vision over here because I have a rocket. I would love to get into these trees. So I'm going to try and deny the vision from Broomstick Boy so I can safely get into these woods. Try and occupy these forests. And I'm going to make a... I like face palmed here. So the plan was to have the artillery stand on the road so it could control the comm tower, so that this infantry couldn't just take it from me. And then I just moved the recon onto the spot that my artillery needs to go. And I'm like, oh no. Okay, backup plan. The backup plan is to move the artillery onto the onto the city, and then just make it so it's impossible for Broomstick Boy to stop me from being able to attack from this tile. So, in order for Broomstick Boy to kill this tank, there has to be a tank here and a tank here. But if there's a tank here and a tank here, that means there can't be an infantry on the comm tower because there's a tank on the comm tower. And then the medium tank can show up in time with the anti-air backup, and I won't lose the comm tower. That's the new plan. Instead of the artillery guarding the comm tower, we're just gonna make it so if Broomstick Boy wants to stop me from like just interrupting from here, they have to stand on the comm tower themselves with a non-infantry unit. So that will still work out. So here's where things get really spicy when you're fighting Adder. It's like Adder used the normal power, you counter with the super, and then Adder just hits you with another normal power. And suddenly you don't have a super to deal with that. And you just get to deal with really nasty amounts of stats. That was a copter first strike from Jess. A 6-5 trade? Oh, we should note. You'll notice I didn't attack this anti-air. That's because there's this range here is the one base range from here. So I never want to put anything in range over here. Everything over here is in 2 base range from here and here. So I'm not really overextending if I'm fighting in this region, especially as Adder, because I can get the extra movement. But if I ever step over here, I'm suddenly in 1 base range. So I am never going to deal with anything on that city. Anti-air has to stand on the road or to kill that copter. And here, the tank comes in, kills the infantry, and the artillery is staring at it. So it's kind of a... I don't think Broomstick Boy made the right play there. I think that was just kind of a panic sunk cost fallacy there. Like, oh no, I'm going to get hit by the artillery. I'm going to drill a hole to then kill the artillery, or hit the artillery, but it only knocks it down to 5, so it's going to heal up to 7. That's still going to be a nasty swing. The anti-air decided to stick around and take out that mech. Recon does get the kill. Medium tank kills off the recon, also denying me some vision, but this is fine for me because the whole goal is to get my rocket into these woods. This makes me really scared because I was like, oh no, this T-copter is going to be able to transport infantry to this mountain from afar. But you know, it's not so bad. Okay. So here, I'm about halfway to the next power. I'll go for all the attacks I can go for that don't need it. As you can see, the the artillery still hits us really hard. The tank hits here. Beat up this tank a bit. Take out this anti-air, take out the infantry. I'm gonna make a slight mistake. Yeah. The mistake I make here is this tank should really attack from here. Or no, I shouldn't. Maybe I'm thinking of another turn. No, this is right. For some reason, I thought I could block off. In hindsight, I thought I could block off access for this anti-air to reach this copter. But that, I didn't do that because then this tank can just kill me for free. So yeah, I'll just stay there and take it out. That gives me enough for my side slip. The third turn of add or normal powers, which does give me access to capturing these cities. And this is where capturing the cities matters. Like I was talking about over here, I go for those captures and then vehicles have to hit the infantry rather than my other vehicles. But in the middle, there weren't other vehicles. Okay, down here, that actually now matters. These infantry are going for captures. Vehicles will have to hit them instead of hitting my other stuff. Or I get the cities. So here we'll just go kill off this anti-air because it decided to stick around. And then again, I'm going to go for this capture so the vehicle has to hit me rather than... This was a mistake. I think what happened was I had like vision down here and I was like, oh, I lost the vision. I should go back and get it. I'll send the mech in and kill this guy and then the artillery can hit me. I mean, it's not that big of a loss. It's good for me in that I'm limiting. I didn't want the infantry around to go for the mountain so I could kill it off. And the mech for infantry is not a great trade, but when you're making 26k, I mean, it's not that big. But still, I would prefer to have the mech at full health. And then, yeah, because I get +1 movement, my medium tank can just come in, one-shot the tank. And here, what I'm going to try and do is I sent that copter up to kill that anti-air, and I'm going to send another copter over here that can be in range if something like a recon shows up to hit, and then these can be seen. Because what I want is for Broomstick Boy to think that I'm sending these copters up to deal with this comm tower fight, so that there'll be like an anti-air sent up this way, and then I'm going to send the copters down here. And here I'm just going to go for some smacks on the artillery. That's because I'm thinking that the units that are over here are going to have to choose between fighting up here, fighting down here. Rocket better start playing that nothing wants to check the forest. Yeah, so you can see I'm thinking with this guy. I'm like, I can like keep it here. I don't want to keep it here or here because something might kill it off and check the forest. So I'm going to put it here to make it a little more annoying to take out this rocket. But at the same time, it does also make it kind of obvious that there's something in the woods. But I don't think that Broomstick Boy has too many options for actually killing this. I know there's a medium tank. But there's also like a lot of pressing issues that Broomstick Boy has to deal with. So I'm feeling like it's okay. But it's definitely possible for Broomstick Boy to check the woods and find the rocket. But it's been snuck there so far. And yeah, you can see this is the problem. Is Broomstick Boy had, those are 3 tanks that were really early investments. They kind of got stuck up there for quite a while. I just built a medium tank and suddenly the entire front collapses. It's because it's hard to reinforce it, and the units got trapped there, so the counter is really easy to end up. So we have another super Broomstick Boy who does now get the vision on the mountain. Down go these poor mechs. Copter comes in and hits the artillery. It's a nice little setup, of course, to guard the capture. This is a really bold move. Like, this copter is clearly within range of this copter. And we've seen that when Jess gets copter first strikes, she kind of loses the exchange. If I get a copter first strike, it's like completely over. There goes that copter. Rest in peace. So what's happening here is that Broomstick Boy doesn't want to lose the city, but this is of course set up so that the rocket is covering if the medium tank goes down to kill this tank. And we have a bomber built from Broomstick Boy. I believe this bomber is to deal with the medium tank. So of those 3 captures that I went for, only one of them goes through, but I was ahead in economy and I'm just getting further ahead here, so that's fine with me. And those interrupts are very cost effective in my regard. The vehicle hits infantry and then I can kill the vehicles. The tanks have kind of been neutralized over here, so my medium tank is just going to leave. Pick up the copter, run away, and what I would like to do, I think, join cap, so I'm doing the same thing where I was like, okay, this mech is now out of ammo. You know, you have to send in vehicles to stop the capture, and then I can use my other units to hit the vehicles. I have a choice here. I can either use my rocket to just one-shot this anti-air, or I can hit the medium tank. I decide to hit the medium tank. It'd be probably fine to hit the anti-air, but I hit the medium tank because I have a lot of other tanks coming in. And I figured that they can deal with the anti-air later. I'm fine with this copter movement. What I'm not fine is with this one, because if I was kind of counting on Jess having built an anti-air, and then with the super goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 to get ready to intercept my copters moving up here. But if that happened, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, actually, if that happened, that doesn't hit there. But if the anti-air went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 to here, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I just put my copter in range of the anti-air. I kind of like, I'm pressuring Broomstick Boy to buy. And that would be if the anti-air was trying to go to the center rather than going up. So I really don't like the copter being here. In this case, it doesn't matter because there isn't an anti-air, but that was a very poor choice for me. I also don't like this attack. I went for it because there's like possible really nice rolls, but it makes it so this copter can now kill this copter for retaliation. You'll see my charge here. I'm about a little over halfway to get to the normal power. So at this point, I'm like, I really don't want to have to deal with this artillery getting 2 turns of shots on interrupting units, so I'm just going to send the tank in. Oh, true. I'm going to stab off of my HQ to repair this tank. This is to make it so it's a lot harder for my opponent to get to the rocket. I like wrapping around this way. And it also, you know, healing up this tank is kind of nice. I have no fear of losing this HQ. I've done so much damage to infantry, and I've got complete control of this area. So yeah, I'm going to have the tank go in here. I'm going to finish this off. I know the artillery's going to shoot it. It's really not that big of a deal. Jess only has injured tanks over here, so this guy kind of doesn't have a job anymore. And I would really like the charge so I can get up to the next double power turn. Then it goes. For Jess. Infantry not getting the kills, so we have the 8-3, 7-4. As you'll see, just getting the first strikes on copters is unfortunately not that great for her. So it does come in and kill this tank, but I mean, I've got the backup tanks. Yeah, the copter goes down. It would live at 1. If it had that one. Which matters because there was a play where the copter kills this, and then there's a breakthrough. The copter would come over here, kill this off, and then the medium tank can come over here, kill off this mech, and then a unit comes and checks, and then the tank hits the rocket, which would make me really sad. It'd be still fine for me because then everything is really pushed far forward, but it would have been sad, and I could have stopped that from possibly happening by just not attacking it. Bomber moves up here. I assume that's to try and get the medium tank. Well, the medium tank's actually leaving. Copter be ditching. Okay. So here, I got a nice bit of charge there. And now I'll go for these copter swings. As you can see, the outer copters, very good. It'd be really annoying over here with the recon standing, revealing this infantry I know is there. It's the only infantry left in this front that could possibly go for this comm tower. And just take out the copter. Finally go for the city capture. Go for a nice mech sacrifice. Kill off this tank. Then I'll hit the artillery. There was another choice here. The rocket could either shoot the anti-air or the artillery. I just decided to just one-shot the anti-air because the artillery won't have counterattack damage. It probably doesn't matter though. Boom. And the medium tank's coming down and now help guard this city. Start healing these guys up. What I'm anticipating is that Broomstick Boy is going to bring this copter back to reveal this anti-air and then shoot it with the artillery. But I'm not really too worried about this anymore because this infantry kind of has to get out of the way to make progress. But then in comes the bomber. Just bomber can't even kill a recon at 9 health. What? And then the copter doesn't go up and reveal this, so I'm like, uh-oh. Well, that's a dead bomber. That's a dead tank. Dead copter. And everything down here, except for this copter, can be cleared away. And at this point, Broomstick Boy goes for the double missile buy and resigns. And it's definitely a fair resignation. They're currently losing on all 3 fronts, down 3k in income. They're doing kind of okay in unit count, but it's not great. They don't have any. Well, they have a few infantry, but they don't have any safe infantry to go for capture, so it's just going to kind of snowball out of control. Oh yeah, I have enough charge. We can't see. I have exactly enough charge for another power next turn, and this guy just goes 1, 2, 3, 4, reveals the bomber, and then the entire max. GG. So the as you saw, the plan worked out. I delayed. Well, I went for like the early information scouting, and then I built up a mech swarm to then fight in the mid to late game with very cost-effective engagements in the center. Just put a lot of pressure there, and really take the advantage on the sides. Broomstick Boy played really well, I'll say. I mean, there was a few mistakes, but overall, I would say Broomstick Boy played very well, especially the early game was nice. It was definitely what you want to do with Jess, is kind of win in the center. Getting both of these cities would have been good, but it's kind of hard to crack this once an artillery with a bunch of mechs and constant copter streams kind of sets up, so I can understand why this one never. But yeah, this is the strong spot for Jess for sure. But winning in the center, as you can see, even as I start to win in the center, all I'm gonna get is a single city. Like, it's just not great. But GG, well played. Even though it doesn't matter if he moved the infantry off the mountain, he could have shot the entire party. Oh yeah, the double river, so that this guy can't make it. Yeah. If this wasn't Jess, if this was Adder, then you could. Yeah, that was the Smecky Cup game 1. Hope you enjoyed. A lot of plays that I would not recommend that you do in your games. Where's the first one? This one. I do agree that moving this direction and getting trapped over here is probably better. But if you're in this situation, just step to here, check for the recon. You'll be pretty safe here. I mean, it'll be a little bit gutsy for the recon to charge forward. It's a lot safer. You don't need to... You only go for like those information gathering plays if you have a specific plan that requires that information, because otherwise you're just going down in value. What was the next one? This one down here. Don't do this. Just keep your tank around. I mean, it's not, as I was saying, it's not really that bad value-wise, but unless you're comfortable with playing with injured units, as you saw with this tank, I like brought it back, I healed it, I wrapped it around healing it, and then it came back into the fight full health. But I would recommend just letting this capture go and preserve your tank health and look for like tank on tank engagements with your vision. And you can definitely do stuff like this. It's a very safe move to just kind of wait for an infantry to get trapped on you. If you're in Broomstick Boy's case here, it's really kind of tough. You'd have to bring a vehicle along to check, because even if you... Oh, actually, no, it's fine. Yeah. If Broomstick Boy put the infantry here instead of getting trapped here, you'd be able to check the vision of the city, and then the tank is actually in range to counterattack. So yeah, that would be a lot better to just go here. And then the other big thing is, if you're using your copters, do not go for attacks like this. Again, there's a whole bunch of other stuff going on when I'm doing that, but oftentimes you're just going to lose a copter and then not get an advantage out of it. I'm trying to get like a power timing attack and all that kind of thing. But I've done that a lot before, so I've got kind of the experience, I guess, to make that stuff work. But you have to be... If you want to go for attacks that look really bad, you have to have a good reason for why you're going for attacks that look really bad. I guess I'll just put it like that. And then suddenly they're not bad. That's how it works. If you've got a good reason, suddenly it's not bad. But GG. Okay. Now we'll move on to Neverlocke. Chest. Your game on this map had one mech and it shot a tank. Hey! Most of the other games I've seen have had a lot of mechs from the hosting player. The other one was a Sammy Ditto. Yeah, I mean, mechs seem pretty strong in the center there, as long as there's enough of them. So that you can't just get right now without getting their nice counters in. Oh, they're already facing the right way. So we got Neverlocke versus achesst and a Jake mirror. This is also Fog of War. I don't know this map. I mean, I might know the map, but I don't recognize the map off the top of my head. I mean, this is a pretty safe, as far as HQs go, that's pretty safe. Oh, is it though? Wait. 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh my god, that's not safe at all. Turns. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Drop off here. You start capturing, and then the APC moves here. And then because there's a river tile here, you say, how on earth do you stop Sammy's HQ cap? Because to stop Sammy from HQ capping you, you have to have two sides available. And if there's an APC here, you have to have like an infantry here and here. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, tank, and you'll be able to reach that spot. I mean that looks safe, but because of this river tile, I think you could still go for some serious Sammy HQ cheese. HQ is usually pressured hard on this map. I believe this is now in Global League. Well, what happens is that the Sammy HQ rush is going to be really fast. It's going to be turn 1, you build 1 infantry. Turn 2, your infantry moves, you build an APC. It's that fast. Turn 3, APC goes down here. Turn 4, APC drops the infantry in range. Turn 5, the infantry starts capturing the HQ. The APC blocks, and then you say, it's now your turn 5. I'm capturing your HQ. I'm blocking off one of the sides. What do you have to stop me? If you have just 1 unit, then it's just GG. So the APC would already be built here, and then the APC would be down this turn. The APC would drop off this turn. We have a fast recon from the double base. That makes sense. It would be really bad if you're getting APC rushed. Stay forced. The APC. This is the turn that the APC would drop off. And we'll see where this infantry goes. If this infantry steps onto the HQ, then everything would be safe. Oh, okay. It's all fine. It's all fine. The Sammy rush would be negated. I would have thought it would go over here because of... I guess it's also okay if it goes over here, though, because then it can step across the river and smack. Maybe it's a lot safer than it looks. If it goes over here, then it'd be really bad. But if it goes up here, it'd be fine. It is true, why would you go this way rather than the capture chain first? I mean, that is true. achesst went for a slightly weirder capture path, but it works out. If there was a Sammy HQ cheese coming. Wow, Neverlocke is going for a very fast comm tower. Okay, so for Neverlocke here, I would not go for a comm tower. Like, I guess I shouldn't say that. It's not that I wouldn't go for the comm tower. I wouldn't go for the comm tower with this timing. The tank doesn't guard the comm tower. So the comm tower needs to be gone for... You either need the tank a turn earlier, or the comm tower needs to be gone for a turn later. It does have the dominance labs. Okay. Just stepping forward to this city. Interesting. Yeah. Good recon interrupt over here. Luckily the tank actually does move in range to see the recon. If the tank didn't get in range to see the recon, this would be really devastating. The recon would just kill the infantry, and you lose the vision. This infantry does get smacked by Neverlocke. Oh no! Okay. Well, I guess we can build another tank over here. Or a recon or something. Okay, we can build the recon. Okay, now the recon can scout the recon. Well, if I see a tank move here, and a recon here, I know that Neverlocke doesn't have enough money to build another tank. So I think I'd be fine just killing this off. Being like, sure, maybe you have a recon to scout this hit, but my recon, I believe, killed it. Whoa, a chest, no! No, 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 no. You stay, you kill this. You see no infantry in range for any of these captures. It could be what achesst is planning is to just take this, like let the infantry finish the capture and then come in with a bunch of stuff and just take it. But I think you just finish that off. Your recon will live with a little bit of health after the tank hits, and that's fine. You're gonna cry. Scouting tank trapped. That is something you never want to have happen. Especially for Neverlocke here. I don't know where. I think it just might have had a little bit of a weird capture phase, but they don't have as many vehicles running around. But this is very dangerous. You don't really want to lead your tank unsupported into maybe trappable forests, because if achesst had a tank in range, which isn't like it's unlikely, then this tank would be super, super sad. But luckily for Neverlocke, that's not a problem. Scouting. Having the same situation. Fun running back to stop the tank first strike. Again, if you're gonna go for this stuff, you kind of need that. I also mess up with these timings, but you really want to have the timing of your vehicle to actually be covering the capture that you're going for. It's pretty likely that Neverlocke is going to trust that achesst is covering this. Okay. So this interrupt only makes sense if you're going to hit it next turn. if you don't hit it next turn, then you lose a whole unit count. It does kind of drain them for 1,000 funds, but if I could drain myself for 1,000 funds to snipe a 5 health infantry, I would do that every time. It's just, the unit count is so good. And it's so hard to come back on that stuff. And also, because you knocked this guy down to like 8 or 9, it's really not good, because it'll take one more turn to get the capture, but then as it finishes the capture, it will repair back up to full, and suddenly it's ready to like capture your comm tower. Giving up the lab dominance to go for this capture. I love it. Okay, we went for the recon on recon hit. Covered by the tank. Not so bad. Okay, knocking out the vision is nice. This unfortunately does block the only tile. I can go for the interrupt, but we were going for the tank for a strike anyway. Yeah, this guy did not get interrupted, so totally fine. Or totally fine for a chest. Not great for Neverlocke to lose that infantry, especially on the 1B side. So if this was standard, it's not standard, but if this was standard, then this hit would be like a really big deal. You get this like nice tank first strike, and then you can kind of snowball that into complete control of the area, as the tank has to like run all the way away and it's still in danger of being sniped and stuff. In Fog, it's really not that big of a deal. It's like, you hit me first, oh no. I just go and heal and I'm protected by the fog. It's really hard to make that progress. The map control I lose it's gonna be basically nothing. Instead of losing the map control, the only thing I'm missing out on is 3 hit points of tank health, which I'm going to repair up to only 1. 1 down. So value-wise, it's going to be like 2,100 value lost. But you don't have that same absolutely destructive snowball effect that you do in standard for that kind of situation. Even over here, you have this 8-4 trade. It's the same deal. So this was still pretty good for Neverlocke to kill off that recon. It's like, sure, you net 4 more tank health, but I just run away to this city and I heal up. And I don't lose that same devastating map control unless you have a lot of follow or some really good vision. Don't like the artillery placement. Talking about this one, that is definitely a little overly safe. Ooh, it might work here. Ooh, it actually worked. Damn. Yeah, as you can see, there's literally going to be like no change in the lines from these tiny engagements. It takes larger engagements to break through in Fog. No fear attack in the Fog, yeah. On the road. So like these attacks, these first strikes, they're not that big of a deal in Fog of War. The things that is the part that is a big deal in Fog of War is when you lose units. Because when you lose a unit, for one, of course, that is a that's something. Your unit production is hard locked or hard capped by your number of production facilities. So it doesn't matter if you like increase your income. you still can only produce so many units. So that's a really hard thing to change in a positive way, because usually what happens is you're trading like a unit for a unit. If you get a unit count lead and then you just trade a unit for a unit, you will keep that unit count lead for the rest of the game. And with a unit count lead, you get more vision. You just have these units that can, like a 3 health infantry, you don't care if that dies, you send that forward, that gets vision, and then you can hit stuff. You can also just stand in the way. The tank wants to hit your tank, and then suddenly there's a 3 health infantry that's like, no, you can hit me instead. They can do things like stand on mountains. All that vision. That's like, that's the main things. Is they stand in the way and they get you vision, or they can get healed up. That also works to get for captures. They can also be used for sacrificial plays. You saw me doing that in the previous game, but I will say the sacrificial plays are more of a thing in Standard than they are in Fog, just because of how battles tend to work out. In Fog, the battles can be pretty chaotic, and they can be kind of map wide, like we saw in the previous game, and kind of in this game too. Where in Standard you usually have really almost static fronts at times. Getting a lot of nice little kills for chest here. Killing off the units is again very good. Pretty interesting that this tank didn't go in and go for this attack. It would have been smacked around for it for sure. But it would probably have been okay. So many feigned attempts at this lab dominance. Oh, Neverlocke also going for the lab dominance. Recon, he's spotting. This is trying to form a line. This is more of a standard move. The reason you don't tend to see this in Fog that much, we did see it in the previous game a little bit as well, but the reason you don't tend to see it so much is it's really bad for vision. And when if you just have like a whole bunch of units standing in a row and they have very limited vision, your opponent can be like, I'm just not going to hit there, and I'm going to move with all of my stuff, and I'm just going to slam into you on the other side of the map while your units just stand there waiting for me to attack, waiting for an attack that will never come. And I'll just win, because all of the advantages I get elsewhere will kind of snowball instead. That's why static, you don't tend to see this that much unless there's a lot of presence everywhere else, so you know where like your opponent's army is. Exactly. So this is also why if you're a Fog player and you go into Standard, the Standard players are going to look at your positioning and see it as very wonky. This is like very Fog kind of positioning, where the units are like arbitrarily not max distance away, but like they are covering, kind of like they're covering each other, but they're not well guarded. And then this is the more Standard players just like marching towards you, knowing where all your units are, forcing like really tight engagements. Not so much the loose composition or positioning. I would not expect to see a beatdown, and there's only one artillery, and not very healthy. Neverlocke going for a little incremental push up here. And this is where the Fog positioning becomes really nice, because you've got a whole bunch of different angles to attack from with the tanks. And in standard, it wouldn't work out quite so well because Neverlocke can see where all the tanks are. It can plan around that. So even like a tank hitting an anti-air, if the anti-air doesn't die, it's not that big of a deal in Fog of War. You can go back and heal. I don't know about going back and healing there, but maybe that's fine. Nah, it's definitely not fine. If I was Neverlocke and I have this guy's gonna heal up to 4 and I have a copter about to go into the fight, I would definitely, maybe I can get the vision. I would definitely trade the tank for the anti-air before he heals up. Jess does not want to attack in. That's totally fine. Just trying to interrupt or get as many infantry as possible to make the capture slow. So we have the block rock from Neverlocke. Ooh. Diving in. I like the recon. Getting in all the scouting. Blocking over here. And the artillery, you probably... You're going to bring the artillery over to the spot that you think your opponent's going to have to intervene at. Guaranteed that you can hopefully also protect. So it could stay here, but I don't think the opponent has to interrupt here. The opponent has to deal with this. Maybe this. Definitely the comm tower is what I would expect. Yeah. I would probably have the artillery over here. It does get guarded for. Like blocked with. This is more of a standard thing, is the making sure your artillery is completely blocked off. If you're over here and you're guarding the comm tower capture, it's really not that big of a deal if the tank hits your artillery, because then it's not hitting these other tanks and all that fun stuff. But this is also okay. This is kind of threatening HQ capture. You can do it right here too. Ooh, so Neverlocke did not kill this anti-air, which is pretty weird. I guess there was just no way of getting the vision. It's just barely out there. Makes the copter really sad. Smackity. Got that tank. Start the HQ capture. I don't like the HQ capture. If the HQ capture had some more oomph behind it, then I'd like it more. I guess it's not bad because achesst is looking over here and seeing a bunch of units. It just turns out that achesst literally sees all the units here. So there are some back up here. Because usually you're kind of anticipating that there's some more in the back as well, but that's usually not the case when you see a JQ is super. They kind of just all get flung forward. Neverlocke does get these 2 cities, which is nice. That does stop the HQ cap, as one would expect. Anti-air does trade out for the copter. That's one of those, like, it's okay things. It's a small map. I definitely agree with Neverlocke to build another anti-air after sending this guy forward. Because it's really easy for achesst to replace that copter. Like, this guy can almost do it in one turn. Now goes the Sure. Infantry. Now goes anti-air. We'll see what Chest wants to do here. It's not too unreasonable to like dive in and kill this tank because this is already an overloaded artillery. You see the medium tank by here, but it would still be pretty spicy. Maybe now. Yeah, okay. So this puts the artillery in a really awkward spot. So it can fire and hit a tank, but it's almost guaranteed to die on the following turn if it does so. Ooh, that's a very nice little breakthrough to hit the artillery. So what do you do in this case? If you are achesst and Neverlocke has broken through, hit your artillery, even though it was like set up to hit their medium tank. In this case, you would just ignore the medium tank. You just kill everything around. So, I guess we just shoot this. I mean, I assume that's what the achesst is going to do. So yeah, this is kind of what Neverlocke is forced to do. So even though you have the artillery set up to like shoot the tanks, if there's too many tanks, you kind of have to run away with the artillery. It's a little embarrassing. But yeah, sometimes it's better to live to fight another day. Hey, Himeta. Very excited about your live fog tournament. Oh no, the lab for dominance. A huge front shift here for achesst. Usually, and this kind of checks out here. Usually what you do is you front shift the vehicles to the front that has more infantry. Okay, so I don't like that this tank I can be used. Yeah, no, okay, so that's a mistake. I would say it's a mistake. It's not necessarily a mistake. Just reverse the order there. Yeah, so what I would do is I'd be killing off this tank too. And I just kind of say, who cares if you have a medium tank? Your medium tank kills off one unit and I can kill off like 3 on that turn because I just have so much more stuff. And then the artillery would still be around to still annoy it. If you do like this half measure stuff, then the medium tank's really happy. Because suddenly a medium tank killing 1 unit is making about as much of an impact. We dive in. That tank. Wow. That's definitely a very aggressive dive in. The reason why is because it's so central, so it's kind of enabling the other front to get involved. I prefer the fighting over here. Just to limit the number of units I can smack ya. For some reason, Neverlocke doesn't use the other front. That was a little weird, but okay. I think probably this tank maybe could have died too. It's okay. It just has another artillery. Looks like we're just going to try to rely on the artillery to kill the medium tank. That and copters. That can work. Neverlocke has a nice 2k income lead and also a little bit of a unit count lead, which is really good. 4. Okay, so looks like a vehicle disadvantage because we're up about 2 units more than you would expect, but 4 of them are infantry, so actually down 2 vehicle counts. That's not that big of a deal unless the fighting happens right away, in which case it can suddenly matter a lot. And I guess one of those infantry is a 1 health infantry standing in the woods in the center of the map, so that's not, you know, that big of a deal that it exists. Building up a lot of units all on this front. We have very forward recon. It's going to see some of it. This is a really small and choky map for a fog map, so it does make these front switches a lot harder to do. Okay, we got some Neo tanks starting to come out. That can make a pretty big deal. Oh. Neverlocke has decided to strike. It'll be really embarrassing on this front because achesst has kind of abandoned it for the most part. So a lot of these units are not going to get great attacks. We're going to have a breakthrough to hit this artillery. We had kind of a death ball over here. The full-on death ball has a complete, as I always call it, a crust of infantry, so the vehicles have to break through the infantry first. It's not quite what we had here. So a lot of vehicle hits for strikes for Neverlocke. Looking pretty good. I mean, there's still the Neo tanks that can get some efficient trades, but I do like how we still maintained a pretty restrained approach over here. Didn't like outpace these infantry. Lab capture still hasn't happened. Okay, it looks like we're trying to hit the medium tank, but doesn't look like it's... Well, it probably is possible with some sacrifices. Well, maybe not, because this does have the power boost as well. Fits. Lab capture will never happen. Okay, so we did interrupt the capture that Neverlocke went for, but Neverlocke ended that at the end of achesst's turn, up 6 units. That is really, really good. And the attack continues. At this point, it's starting to look like not maybe too possible for achesst to survive. A lone Neo tank is always really sad. They don't have vision. This infantry should probably have stepped to here. The Neo tank is super prone to getting trapped. It runs over here. Fine. We're gonna hit the medium tank. He's gonna get shot by an artillery. Capture is gonna go through. I do like this. Is kind of a desperation move from achesst, but I love it. If there isn't any units coming along this way as reinforcements, then you can force a unit to leave the fight to interrupt this comm tower capture. And if they don't, then you can get double comm tower. Top Neo tank. Neverlocke is up 4k to interrupt recon attack. I would definitely have... Where was the recon? I guess it's kind of in the way. You do lose out. There? Okay. These tanks are far enough forward to get as much as you So when you're in a big brawl like this, especially if it's like a game-winning brawl, now you can go for more of those standard attacks where you're going for all like these first strikes rather than going for all the kill-offs. The killing off units being more of the fog approach. You can still do the fog approach in these big brawls though. We do have little sacrifices from a chest. Kill off that. Artillery. Start picking off these tanks. It's pretty good. My chest has got to be feeling the pain. About to lose this other comm tower. So at this point, if I'm a chest, the one thing I can do is like a Hail Mary HQ rush. And if I'm Neverlocke, I'm 100% thinking that's what they're going to do. So in comes Neverlocke, getting the super first again. And I would just like shift everything. Yeah, I mean, I'd probably move the artillery back into these woods maybe. I guess on the HQ is also fine-ish. The chest just resigns. Down 2 comm towers, down 4K. That's a GG. Yeah, the beginning of the supers are rough. In mirrors, the Jake mirror is not too bad usually because both the super and the normal power can get used. Although it's better in standard than in fog. I'm mostly sad you forgot to build a pipe runner the last day. It was a good game though. GG. Oh my gosh, I already ran out of time. I spent so much time on my game. I hope everyone enjoyed. Regardless, I will be back on Friday and I'll get through more games that time, I swear. I hope everyone enjoyed. And I leave you with an apple. An apple a day keeps the doctor away. Thanks for watching. Friday.
It's Go7, king of the penguins. Of all the penguins, he is king. It's Go7, king of the penguins. Being king of the penguins, that's his thing.